go as immediately RNG and in fact LNG also. Could this be deja vu? Exact same picks coming in with RNG taking away the Xinjiao from Tarzan, and then meanwhile RNG just going with the exact same picks here. In fact, I was just watching a replay of Game 3 because it looks like LNG are just squaring up with RNG, saying, "All right, we know what you we know what you did right last game, and we know exactly what we want to do to counter it. As it's the Lucian ban instead now coming from LNG, so they are mixing things up a little bit. Not an immediate Rakan ban as we've seen so many times in the past 3 games. Meanwhile, RNG in the other hand is with the Irelia ban. I think you're kind of giving away the fact that you want the Jace or the Ngar, which Ngar is banned out here. Gwen is taken in return by RNG. So now on the side of LNG, this could be a mid lane because of course mid lane icon isn't really exactly popping off right now, and with the rise lock-in that is an assured Renekton top. And let's see what RNG have. So there's the Jace available. Okay, it turns out to be the Mundo. I don't really like this from RNG. Where are you going to play from, as the lock-ins just come in instantaneously? There is just no talking here. I really like the Braum pick into the Lee Sin, into the short range rise, into the Trundle, and into the Renekton, but I really like the Trundle as well. Because now, sincerely, where's RNG going to engage from? Their engage tools are pretty much Xiaohu trying to run in, which is impossible, into the zone control that Light and I1D provide. And then there's the fact that you don't want to run into, the fact that you can't probably run into Rise with the Rune Prison. Tarzan's got the Dragon's Rage available. And I mean, yeah, where's the engaging going to come from? Wei's going to need to pull off an insane insect. Crying only has one Scatter the Weak, and that's literally it. So a really big flaw coming out here as we just cruise right past. We blast through picks and bans yet again. RNG and LNG both eager to get on with it. RNG to ascend to game 5 while LNG to shut this game down. Really all they needed to do, I was going to say before the start of this game, RNG need to get Xinjiao away from Tarzan and then need to get Xiaohu ahead in lane with a snowballing champion. And it looks like they have failed in that second very highly, one would say, more important requirement. Because, I mean, there's so much scaling that they have. They've got scaling on Crying, they've got scaling on Gala, they've got scaling on Xiaohu, who's a tank. And although he will eventually outscale Ali, everything is kind of in favor of Ali. So, top lane, Ali's got priority. Mid lane, Rise actually has a pretty decent time pushing out against the Syndra, although it might cost him a lot of his mana. And bot lane is pretty much one of the most passive lanes you've ever seen. There's not really too much engage on either side. I mean, sure, Ming can use a jump in and use the fissure when he hits level 6, but I1D has the pillar available to disrupt the jump if, and I mean, being pro players, they do have the mechanics available for this. While Wei will take out that ward, which means at least Tarzan will know, and no, at least RNG will know that LNG know where they're starting. Meanwhile, Tarzan probably is fully aware that RNG know exactly where he's starting as well. As both junglers now heading towards the bot side. Looks like this is where the combat for priority is going to begin for the 3 minute and 15 second Scuttle Crab spawn. And oddly enough, it looks like top lane is not the place where we are going to see so much action. Now, one of the reasons for the Mundo into the Renekton that I can think of is that Mundo's passive means that he's actually incredibly hard to keep still. You cannot stun Mundo with 1 CC, and between the top and the jungle that LNG have, that means that pretty much Xiaohu is going to be immune to any form of CC they have. Until, of course, Tarzan hits level 6 and then the Dragon Rage becomes available, at which point, really, the Dr. Mundo passive is just as much of a hindrance and an annoyance, because if Tarzan gets onto him before Ale can, which is very likely considering the amount of dashes that Tarzan has on the Lee Sin, then he's not going to be able to kick Xiaohu into Ale for a follow-up Ruthless Predator. Now, both junglers are nearing the 3 minute and 15 second mark. It looks like the clear is relatively even, but Tarzan shortcutting a couple of camps in order to ensure that he is in position for it as the time quickly dawns upon us in the mid lane. We're seeing so much bad combat because both of the mid laners know how important it is, how vital it is for each of them to get priority. And right now, it looks like Icon is winning out. However, he is very low on mana. Crying, going through all of his corruptible potions, as is Icon, with both of the mid laners sustaining off the remnants of the biscuits. Tarzan is in range for a safeguard into a Sonic Wave, but it's going to be very all-in. Does have the flash available as well, but it looks like they're just going to split the map and just take either Scuttle Crab, as of course Wade losing bot priority as well at the same time, which assures Tarzan that bot Scuttle Crab. It looks like both the junglers are now collaborating, now jumping into the mid lane, are going to collapse into it, as Cry now looking to try and get stun off, does manage to do it. Wade is just waiting around, probably waiting for Tarzan to pop up on the other side of the river, and now Icon actually on the awkward position. Everyone is sandwiched between each other. Icon flashing in with the Rune Prison, does not manage to secure the second part as the wind becomes lightning. Flash comes in and Wade manages to secure first blood for RNG. Things are already going their way, but honestly, okay, there's no doubt that Wade probably can carry this, but the dream of having Xiaohu be the carry is long past. Now, a couple of quick recalls are going to go off here. Icon, I like the way he reacted very quickly, realizing, oh, Wei somehow got between me and Tarzan. I need to make a play. I need to try and flash on Crying, force out his summoner spells, or maybe even try and take him with me, which he came awfully close to doing. Now, Dragon is spawning in 45 seconds. Time, meanwhile, in the mid lane is just a little bit harassed, being thrown back and forth. Both of these champions very poke heavy, but alas, I'd rather have a Ziggs on my team. Although he lacks that extreme mobility that Ezreal does provide, let's not forget the fact that he has ranged wave clear and tons of zone control. Meanwhile, both of the junglers now just continuing their clear. Tarzan Tarzan has managed to equalize the clear, and it looks like there's a little bit of roam coming in from the bot side. It is Ming who's going to be in attendance first as Tarzan jumps in. Sonic Wave has not been shot out. Tarzan now stunned out Sonic Wave for like about 2 feet in order to ensure that he can try and get out of position, but the auto attacks come in. Tarzan is stunned up by the Scatter the Weak as Icon, exhausted up, is trying to get away from this Ming with a nice rotation. Has managed to acquire his team a little bit of advantage as the flash has been forced out by Tarzan, equalizing the summoner spell armory between the teams. And now it's just going to be a little bit of pressure coming out here from Iwandi, trying to ensure that Icon can pick up all of this CS, that he loses nothing to the tower, and mission accomplished. Meanwhile, on the bot side, AD carry 1v1s do continue. And in the top lane, there we go, look at that. Was really, what can you do when the stun doesn't actually provide you anything? And so, in a way, the Mundo pick has neutralized the Renekton pick. But I don't know if that's enough, because I think in a game 4, when your tournament life is on the line, you should just do it LPL style and flip it. You should have aggression, pick the Jace, and just run with it and see how well you do. Now, Iwandi has made his way up towards the top side, is walking in now, probably to get some vision out to ensure that his solo laners are kept safe. Rift Herald will be spawning in about 2 minutes time, but Ming is equally roaming now, is still down on levels. Looks like we're going to see a 3v3 unwind here. Teleports are available for the AD carry of LNG and the top laner of RNG. And meanwhile, looks like LNG are now pivoting up towards securing that top Scuttle Crab, which is of course I guess why they rotated everybody here in the first place. And with priority, it will be assured. Now RNG checking extremely late. I don't know what the reason is for this, because they saw 3 members teleport coming in. That is Xiaohu coming in, but it looks like Wei is so deep. Everyone is so separate as Xiaohu spots between Ali and the rest of his team as Ali assassinates Crying. And this is, I'm not quite sure what they were expecting, because you are not stronger than them at this point in time. Ryze matches Syndra's scaling and provides very, very reliable form of CC with the Rune Prison, and it's notorious how strong Trundle is in the early game. Looks like Xiaohu is going to do his best to ensure that his mid laner is going to return to a decent wave state at least. Meanwhile, Ale is going to make his way up towards top side, having happily picked himself up a kill and an assist, and now is going to collect this entire massive wave of about 8 minions. And I'm really not sure what RNG were doing here. It's pretty easy to predict that LNG had a 4-man here. Crying, really nothing he can do as the rest of his team just surged forward. Ming jumping in to assist his jungler, who jumped into the thick of it, didn't even have his ultimate available at that point in time, I do believe. And now back into the bot lane, Ming is incredibly far behind in terms of experience, as Iwandi an entire level ahead of him. And really that's not too important until you get, that's not too important once you get beyond the level 6 point. Because at that point you get your first level of your ultimate has been acquired. And there really isn't too, that's not so bad. Level 7, level 8, level 9, not so bad. Level 11 is really the next point in time. And it looks like Icon now is making his way towards bot side, probably looking for some honeysuckle plants to regenerate some of his mana. It's quite taxing, of course, to be continuously pushing waves into mid lane. And with the slight bit of advantage that Ali has acquired up in the top side with that kill and with that assist, and of course, having absorbed that massive wave, it is possible now that Tarzan might look towards top side. But I guess I stand to be corrected as LNG now rotating rotating the entire goon squad up. Iwandi is here as well. Purpose is to secure a Rift Herald, get as much priority as possible, and top lane Ale is acquiring that priority. Icon being babysitted slightly by Iwandi is also acquiring as Wei is jumped onto, forcing out the Crescent Sweep from Wei, and this is a huge win as Tarzan only expunged a Sonic Wave, and it looks like they want more than just Rift Herald. Rift Herald is an exit objective, I suppose, trying to look for Gromp, trying to look for blue buff, which was just gifted away to Crying. Teleport is going bot side, and that is Ming with his yet again unsealed spellbook, this time not on the this actually what was he on last time? I don't remember. Regardless, he is now deep in enemy territory. In fact, they see him and they are fully aware of his intentions, as Wei now starting up this dragon, smiting it early. He might live to regret that, as Icon is in the area and Mega Inferno Bomb is available. This could be a steal coming out here, as Ale, with that little bit of advantage he's acquired, is actually chunking out Xiaohu quite aggressively, not popping the Dominus, having the discipline available, but having chunked out Xiaohu so significantly, Tarzan might just round the corner and look for a gank. He does have the Dragon's Rage available, can try to use it for an execute ability. Crying is a little bit scared under his tower as well. Xiaohu popping his ultimate early to ensure he gets that regeneration off, and having to back away from his tower as Wei has revealed himself towards the bot side. Having done that, Dragon, the wave is quite low. In comes Dominus. Ali is tanking up the tower with the Dominus, as well as the Ruthless Predator as Tarzan jumps in, just using the Dragon's Rage, and down falls Corporate Mundo. So it's an equalizing matchup until Ale manages to get a lead of sorts, or until he gets like his item advantage. And interestingly enough, Xiaohu actually opting for what looks to me to be a Divine Sunderer Mundo build instead of just the straight out tank. And I think he might be regretting his decision ever so slightly at this point in time. Not really so much of something that he did wrong, it's more that his team kind of entered him in this regard. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, looks like items are pretty even. Gold is relatively similar as well. Jungle position, 300 gold in favor of Tarzan. And it looks like both teams honestly, just seem set on scaling up towards the mid and late game. While Ale would like to push his lead, there is also the fact that if you push the lead, I suppose it's good, but at the same time, the rest of your team wants to scale. The Rise, insane scaling. Ziggs, insane scaling. Meanwhile, on the side of RNG, very strong mid-game coming out with the Ezreal, as well as the mid-game of a Syndra, as well as the scaling, of course, with her levels and the gold. It'll be interesting to see if Crying opts for the Archangel Staff yet again, as opposed to completing his mythic item instead. And across the board, it looks like things are going pretty calmly. A pretty passive, I'd say, game of League of Legends going on here. As interestingly enough, in game 4, RNG seemed to have drafted away from what I presume to be their win conditions and just allow LNG to take complete control of the game, as they are doing now, as a Realm Walk is coming in. Gala finding himself in a 1v4 situation under tower as Tarzan flashes in for the Dragon's Rage, flashing away from the Mega Inferno Bomb. Not that it was going to hit him anyways, as Tarzan is tanking up the tower. In fact, that pillar might have just killed him, but no, the safeguard comes in just the nick of time, and Iwandi tanking up that last and final shot. That flash, it's good that he attempted to outplay that, but I like LNG's decisiveness. They're seeing opportunity, rotating their 3-man goon squad, and a flash kick coming out from Tarzan, not wanting to give this slippery Ezreal with his essence shift as well as his flash any opportunity. And in spite of being able to get his flash off, he still wasn't able to survive it. So LNG just slowly and surely acquiring themselves ever so slight advantages across the board. They're 2k gold ahead in a team that technically outscales if you just directly compare their counterparts. And they even have engaged, because as we all know, the follow-up, of course, from LNG is insane, which means that their pick potential is insane as well, with the Rise, Ruin Prison, as well as the Ruthless Predator. But it looks like there might be another dive coming in here, as Gala finds himself in the receiving end of a Rift Herald, as to be expected, I suppose, because the Satchel Charge champion is down here. There are 4 members down here. Top laners do have teleport available, as does Crying in the mid lane. As Satchel Charge comes out, Ming tries to block it. It's tanking up a ton of damage from the Rise, who's actually knocked up by the Fissure. For some reason, the auto attacks do not come out, and it looks like a little bit of a whiff coming out from LNG's bot lane as in comes Wei into 5 people yet again. Unfortunately, his Crescent Sweeps knocks everybody away from his teammates as he jumps in, manages to secure Tarzan. The chair still lands onto Light, but the bouncing grenade nearly taking Ming out. The Leandris is burning him down, but he's got nothing to worry about. Mega Inferno Bomb is actually nearly off of cooldown, and in fact, he might have to dance for his life as we're watching him ever so eagerly. Mega Inferno Bomb is still available. He's standing in vision now, popping a pink ward in, knowing, fully aware that Light is looking for him, gunning for his head. And this is the first time in a long while I've seen a team manage to defend. In comes the Mega Inferno Bomb right onto Ming, but Ming using his shield. I didn't know you could do that. But the Leandris and the Comet might be enough. Oh my god. He used the shield to absorb the entirety of the damage, and look how happy his Light. I think has no idea what happened. I guess he's just going to assume that Ming had flash. Actually, that's unlikely because these teams always time flashes. So I'm betting you right now, Light has no clue what in the heck just happened. Ming positioning himself absolutely beautifully, and Xiaohu looks like he's in agony up towards the top side. As we see the slight bit of a whiff here. I'm not sure if the it did. What? Ming is such a beast. Oh my god, Ming is an absolute beast. I did not know that was an interaction. You can block Zig's Satchel Charge with your shield? Oh my god. Wait, actually, that's a beautiful play as well. 3-talent strike knockup into the wind becomes Lightning, and Ming, oh my god, Ming is an exceptional player. Micro-wise, eat your heart out, support mains, as the second dragon of the game is going to go in favor of RNG. To their credit, have done an exceptional job holding out to the first tower. Not that's going to change much, I suppose. Crying caught out of position. Ali's teleporting in comes Tarzan, who jumps away with the safe cut. Teleport is coming in behind them as well, but this is from their teammates. In comes Ale, who's teleported amidst everybody. Does have the gold dragon to sustain, but it is not enough. He's incinerated Tarzan now, trading back onto Ming. Tarzan is so much fun live with the gold drinker. I want it in the front lines with the shield, with the stopwatch, and in comes a beautiful pillar separating Wei and Gal from the rest of the team. Xiaohu nearly tanking up another overblow as in comes Ming. A beautiful scattered read comes out. I want is being focused down. Flash is coming out. Down goes the Mega Inferno Bomb that hits nothing as a bunch of spells go in and out. 2 kills for 2. And overall, I'd say a slight advantage in favor of RNG, who only lose their support and their jungler. Meanwhile, LNG lose their top laner and their jungler. That Realm Warp was a little bit optimistic, I suppose, from Ali, who I guess was, I'm not sure if he managed to get his God Drinker off, as the sustain coming up from Tarzan's God Drinker was absolutely massive. Interestingly enough, both teams fighting towards this bot side when Rift Herald is up and available, and with Gala now only, both AD carries, recalling now only, but Gala has a slight bit of advantage, will be able to teleport to his team. And I thought Crying was in deep trouble here. Very nice safeguard coming out as Crying managed to get his flash off, as in comes Ale to the Realm Walk, just chain CC to the ground, gets the God Drink off, but alas, it was not enough, and just as quickly Ming is incinerated. Then Tarzan, look at this huge God Drinker come through from what looks to be 0 HP up into half, and Wei manages to insect Iwandi into his team, but actually eventually leads to his own death as he puts Iwandi in a fantastic position to just deny him his exit. And then, oh, never mind. Actually, it was, he kind of offered himself up in exchange for Tarzan. Nice sidestep from Crying out of the Mega Inferno Bomb out the radius. But LNG do have priority in the mid lane, and it looks like they're heading with all haste towards the Rift Herald, which will assure them another tower aside from bot tower. Because really, Gala is landlocked towards bot side. He even had to blow his teleport to get back down there, because as soon as Light gets any alone time with that tower, he might not even satchel charge it. Just a passive auto attack at this point will most likely be enough for the team, for him to just secure first tower. And RNG, there's no outs that they have. Top tower is bleeding, is nearly dust. Bot tower is in a similar situation, and mid tower is really the only healthy tower. So right now, LNG, there's no reason for them to use this Rift Herald anywhere but bot side, but it looks like Tarzan and Iwandi are prepping themselves for a dive. There's very low chance, almost no chance, that this Rift Herald will be used here, and it will be a real shame, it will be a complete waste, I'd say, if it was used anywhere but mid lane. In the bot side, it looks like Gala is at least going to be able to secure a tower in favor of RNG, which honestly, at the point that they were at, with 2 towers at 0 HP practically at that point, this is a huge win. But it looks like they're going to lose mid lane as well, as in comes the Ziggs in order to continue sieging down this tower. Ming needs to keep himself quite healthy though, as already the unblockable is, the block is gone, which means that Light will be able to get free access to this with his satchel charge and absolutely decimate this tower in front of the eyes of RNG. But they're stepping forward, trying to defend their tower as best as possible. In comes the skill shots, in comes the scattered Weeks. In comes the Winter's Bite as Xiaohu and Ali just duking it out over a control ward up in the top side bush. Xiaohu does not have his passes available as the pillar comes in, crying his focus down. Beautiful insect coming in from Tarzan, thrown into the entirety of the team. Wei jumps in to try and secure him. Tarzan insect back with the Crescent Sweep, but Ali is in the backlines, but Ming is there, as is Xiaohu, to try and protect the AD carry. Meanwhile, Wei manages to assassinate Icon, flashing over the wall. Ali still falls to the damage output from Gala, and things are going RNG's way as they trade 1 for 3. Lose the tower, won't have any neutral objectives to collect, but may be able to siege down this mid tower. Gala at full HP can potentially look for an aggressive essence shift forward. Wei is looking for the wraparound and he is alone. There is no one here for Light to save. Light does have flash available as in comes, nearly getting him as Wei stepping forward, trying to source out his options, and it looks like there are none. And I think Light has done enough because he's managed to clear the wave still, which means that no push will come down. So a huge hold there. Massive individual play coming in from Light, saving his mid lane tier 3 tower. And let's see, I mean, Tarzan just seeing an opportunity, noticing the RNG are relatively split compared to them, and just kicking. Unfortunately, Crying actually got kicked out of the Mega Inferno Bomb, and Tarzan had to flash in to try and finish him off. And at this point, Ale unfortunately just chain CC'd and away. Look at the ability that he has to just tank up all the range damage. In spite of missing the wind becomes lightning, still able to zone the entirety of the enemy team and take no damage as a result of the Crescent Sweep. So Xin Zhao, even though he was first pick, is still, I'm going to say, a fantastic pick into the Ziggs, because Ziggs really can't do anything but try and lob bombs over you, and he doesn't have that immense of a range because, of course, the Crescent Sweep radius is massive. Now Xiaohu is most definitely dead here, not quite sure what he's thinking. Teleport is available from Crying, but I don't think you want to use it because the tower is going to go down. There's nothing else to teleport to as Xiaohu trying to run out of this, but there's no getting away from the combined. Never mind! I stand to be corrected as Tarzan just gives the big guy a lift, gives him a little bit of a boost. Now RNG are looking to try and catch something here. Dragon is spawning in 3 seconds time with Baron 30 seconds after. Ming needs to be careful, face checking first. Winter's Bite now connecting onto Iwan. The Icon slightly out of position, now grouping up with his team eventually. Light is not there for the poke as Icon is spotted out in the bush. In fact, he might be spotted out a little bit too far forward as the engage begins. Ming is being engaged on. Tarzan jumping forward as well. Ming forced to flash out of the fire as Ali is now gaining access to the backline. Xiaohu so incredibly low, and Mega Inferno Bomb takes out Ming as in the front lines, Ali falls yet again, and this time Crying with a massive scatter weak, stunning out 2 people, unleashing power onto Iwani. Not quite sure why you want to unleash your power onto the support as the wind becomes lightning, tags up onto Iwani as well. Wei will not be able to jump away from that bomb as the teleport is coming in. There is Xiaohu. He does not have his ultimate available, but I'm pretty sure this dragon is going to go in favor of RNG. They still have their jungler available to the members of LNG, but they have no ways of accessing this dragon, and RNG applying pressure now onto LNG. Have Dragon Soul right now in 20 minutes. We're going to see a 25-minute fight, and that's perfectly timed for RNG's power spikes. Not quite sure what the items are like. They even got a nice big wave up towards the top side for them to collect, and things are falling in favor of RNG despite everything I suppose I said. What do I know about this game? It's just that as the game prolongs, LNG are still in a pretty decent position as a result of their draft. And let's see. Yup, see, we're at first items now. So RNG, I don't think they're going to be in time for their second items for the next dragon, but they can actually delay it by 1. And in comes a beautiful fissure, knocking up 3 from Ming. A nice flash out of it. So hard focused. Xiaohu somehow survives this. Actually, not quite sure how in the heck he survives the damage from Ale as well as the Mega Inferno Bomb. And a nice flash comment there from Icon. Otherwise, he would most definitely have had power unleashed all over him by Crying. And it looks like Crying isn't even going to try and finish up his Archangel staff. In fact, he's going towards a Merlonomicon by the looks of it, in order to ensure that the drain tanking abilities of Ale and Tarzan and Icon are just not utterly abused, I suppose, at this point in the game. He's going to be sitting on that tier for quite a fair bit of time. And as we look at the items, Ale with a significant lead. In fact, interesting enough, Xiaohu opting for the Gore Drinker himself instead of the Divine Sunder, instead of the Tank Mythic as previously mentioned. So I guess we're going to see something different here. Not quite sure how useful it has been. Maybe that's where he got that little bit of regeneration that kept him alive in the previous fight. So I guess I can't judge it. But the goal in the top lane, at least, is definitely in favor of Ale, in spite of him being utterly incinerated in the last 2 fights when he basically steps forward into the entirety of RNG, embracing his death and damnation. Meanwhile, Tarzan in the jungle position is significantly ahead also of Wei, in spite of the fact that the stats are looking so similar. The kills and the assists and just the the CS overall. In fact, it's kind of odd. Maybe Wei hasn't bought in a bit. And across the mid lane, as we previously mentioned, it looks like Icon is going to be packing quite a heavier punch as Crying was forced to sidetrack a little bit in order to build some healing cut for the rest of his team. The Grievous Runes is incredibly important. Now a 3-1 situation is coming out, a 4-1 situation is coming out from LNG as Tarzan is looking for an opportunity to kick Gala into his team, maybe even Crying. Most likely Crying. The immobile mid laner is the object of choice most likely, is the target of choice most likely from LNG's star jungler. And in this current position, there's really nothing much to fight for. The next objective to spawn will be, next objective on the map is Baron buff, but the next other objective is Dragon Soul in 2 minutes and 20 seconds time. So you can probably afford ourselves a brief respite from the action. As the second items now begin coming in from RNG, this is exactly where they want to be. They are on point, they are on time to hit their power spikes, although the goal lead is still in favor of LNG, which means, of course, if you're an LNG fan, not all is lost because the scaling is there, as previously mentioned, and LNG can always pull together as a team. Fantastic team fighting. And really, we've seen across the past two team fights that they have much better, they group up much more than RNG. And when in a grouped up position, they can really very easily rely on Tarzan to find them a pick, on a key target. So, looks like we're just going to be sitting around and waiting for either team to either make a pick or look for an objective. The mini objectives, of course, are still available if you think about it. So, one being blue buff. Especially for the side of LNG, you want as much as you can to get a blue buff onto either Icon or Light. Interestingly enough, both champions extremely mana intensive. And generally when you have a Ziggs on your team, even the mid laner doesn't get the blue buff. But in this case, I really don't know who is outputting more damage. It is easier for Light to output the damage, I suppose. So there is a good chance that we will see the blue buff handed out onto him. Not that it seems to be spawning anytime soon, but if RNG can take that away from LNG, that increases their chance of success quite significantly. As Gala now is teleporting into the mid lane, LNG don't have such insane engage as well. I want the cut in a suspicious position, but I guess he's just baiting for the rest of his team. It's Ale now trying to clear as much vision as possible. The pillar comes out, Ming tanking up the Sonic Wave, and now he's gonna tank up a bunch of bouncing grenades, getting a little bit chunked, not so good. He does have the sustain from the plants that Wei managed to proc for him. It looks like it's just going to be a standard fight here as RNG actually have at a slight bit of a disadvantage because the wave can push so much deeper into them as a result of the tier 3 bring down. Ming trying to step forward, but again, RNG slightly hampered by their utter lack of engage against a Ziggs who without blue buff is going to eventually run out of mana, but really no time too soon. And before this fight even starts, it looks like LNG is significant lead in their favor. Bot wave is even pushing towards RNG at this point in time. And Xiaohu stepping forward, in comes Ali, beautiful timing, in fact finds the dominance, but Tarzan jumping in, managing to kick Cry across his entirety of his team, eradicate the Xiaohu in the front line, can't tank up, the gold drinker is not enough, Tarzan trying to be breaking down, but the stairs provides him such a huge shield, Wei eventually takes it out, but Ali flashing over the wall into embraces of RNG, and everything is going LNG's way. Ali with the stopwatch will survive this, Xiaohu with the gold drinker will not be able to sustain up enough, Gala stepping forward, trying to get away from the realm warp, does have the mystic shots available as well as the essence shift, and if they continue to chase LNG, might throw this game away, realizing that this is exactly what they fought for, looking to try and get that dragon icon, looking for an opportunity to, never mind, he's gonna have an opportunity to look for Gala if he tries to poke his head in. I think Gala will, and he's gonna get incinerated as a flash coming out, dodging away from the true shot barrage, but Gala with his own essence shift ability to get over the wall will manage to escape just barely as that Hex Drinker coming in clutch for the 80 carry of RNG. As we see what in the world happened, Crying stepping forward to that beautiful use of vision there from LNG. And then Tarzan just delivering the mid laner into the open awaiting arms and somehow nearly getting out of it, trying his best to get as close to his team as possible, and his team throwing whatever spells they can from over the wall. Ale using his flash just a moment too late to try and save Tarzan, but still puts himself in a fantastic position to just clean up the rest of RNG. And really, stopwatches are the true highlight of this fight if you're an LNG member. And Gala, to his credit, did a pretty good job here as well, and things are looking grim as LNG now tasting blood in the water, realizing that RNG are weak. They are limping along. LNG's and Light is even gonna pick himself up this blue buff. Things are looking catastrophic. Gold lead has ballooned to 3,000 gold. If we look at the items, Light is also building towards his Morellonomicon, but it's going to be significantly ahead in terms of items, at least when compared to Crying, who right now is only working by the looks of it towards he might be detouring slightly. Chances are he will be working towards the Archangel staff, because he cannot afford to go for any more safety. The rest of his team does no damage with the exception of Gala, and now LNG, what will they do? They are, again, there's no pressure on them. They've won that fight. They bought themselves another 3 minutes and 30 seconds at this point in time of breathing room. Now, what can they do? They can just wait for the next dragon to spawn and fight for that again. There's no need at all to fight for any object. There's no need to force a dragon. There's no need to force a baron. There's no need to do anything fancy. They just sit back and allow their Ziggs to scale. Of course, against a Mundo that can be a little bit rough, but Mundo does eventually get shredded pretty effectively by the Liandries coming out from Light, as well as the constant output from Icon, who honestly is what you have him for, is to shred out the tanks. So you're good, I suppose. And it looks like 131 is going to come out here from the members of LNG. RNG a little bit slow to respond in a 0-4 and 1 position. And Xiaohu can't even step up to Icon, who is nearly hitting his level 16 power spark point. He is at about 25% range. He's at 25% of his way towards the level 16 point. And again, LNG taking the game slow. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Plenty of time to try and get Icon in that solo lane, absorbing as much of that gold and experience as possible. And right now, things are looking in control. Things are looking alright. Things are looking even. But in reality, RNG are kind of hemorrhaging at this point. Look at the item differential between the two mid laners. Look at the item differential, kind of, I guess, between the two junglers, which is not very deep. But look at the item differential between the two top laners. A whole half item ahead is Ale. And of course, if you look at the AD carries, both doing fairly well, but definitely a slight advantage in favor of Light, as Gala trying his best to complete what looks to be a Lord Doms, as opposed to finishing out his Maw of Malmortius. Dragon now stop spawning in 2 minutes time. Tick tock on the clock. LNG preparing themselves for it, as Icon going to base for his Void Staff by the looks of it, and will have it completed at 4 items. Iwandi is caught out by the fissure, is forced to flash out, but Light trading back damage quite decently onto both Gala and Ming. Meanwhile, it looks like Tarzan and the rest of LNG not interested at all in this fight. Ale at this point is just trying to conserve his Guardian Angel for the next fight, because he knows that is where it's going to be at its most important. That is where it's going to be at its most effective. So there is no need. In fact, he has no desire at all to step up aggressively and use his Guardian Angel for any selfish needs. Wei now might be in a little bit of trouble depending on the pathing of Ale. It looks like they're going to let him go, as vision is really being laid down by Iwandi. Look at the entire bot side. It is all red, ladies and gentlemen. There's a beautiful wall of 2 wards per entrance into RNG's bot side jungle. And Xiaohu, look at the amount of damage coming out. Fortunately, he does have a lot of sustain, and Ale is caught out of position. Ming landing the Winter's Bite. Unfortunately, Wei does not manage to land. The wind becomes lightning. Will not have the elongated dash to leverage. And RNG managed to clear out vision up in the top side. So they're splitting the map. They're accepting the fact that LNG do have control over the bottom side, with Icon's continuous pressure of the waves, with the absolute and utter lack of vision, which LNG in the previous fight leveraged to get an absolutely key pick onto Crying, who in this current moment in time is trying to push out that bot lane back towards LNG. Icon has reached his level 16 power spike point. Look at the items already beautifully. Everything is aligned. The boots are all aligned. 4 items each on the members of LNG. And RNG now threatening to start up Baron should LNG disappear into the fog of war towards bot side. Ming stepping up a little bit far forward. Does tank up the Sonic Wave. Crying needs to be extremely careful, as Tarzan has been awfully interested in him. 2 Guardian Angels are available for the double bruises frontline bros, but the wave can go so deep into RNG side of the map as a result of that tier 3 tower falling. And LNG honestly just need to send 1 member down, and that dragon can be soloed. They have Light to poke and prod. In comes the Realm Warp. It's going to be Icon taking it, along with Ale trying to catch out Wei, who manages to get out of it without even having to force a flash. And now LNG find themselves on the opposite side of the map from the dragon, from the objective that they actually truly want. Vision is still heavily in favor of LNG, and every time LNG disappear into the fog, RNG panic ever so slightly. Wei spotting out Tarzan in the backline, but Xiaohu has been chunked out significantly from the combined damage of Light as well as Icon, and it looks like Tarzan is just kind of getting bored up onto the side. He's gonna pick himself up as much of this as he can, as much as he can. And LNG now, with the poke coming out as a result of having a Ziggs on your team, are going to be able to muscle RNG out of the way and right into their second dragon. And at this point, you have to start wondering, if you're RNG, if you don't fight now, when are you going to fight? When are things going to get better? At this point, RNG need to get a pick. They must get a pick, and the pick has to be on a key member like Light or Icon. At this point, picking Tarzan doesn't mean too much. Picking Ale doesn't mean too much as well, because I mean Ale at this point really just threatens your backline. But our LNG, the key members of Icon and Light, if they are ever picked off, that is the only opening the RNG can afford to themselves. And right now things are not looking the way of RNG. And this again can be pointed back towards, well, not pointed back towards, this can be said to be a shortcoming of them not having any engage. But what can I say? In late game situations, really, I don't know if there's any team who just seems as dominant as LNG in the Rift right now in the LPL. Maybe an argument can be made for EDG, because Fun plus Phoenix really what their specialty is snowballing games, right? But EDG, they able to play so much varieties of champions, and generally in the LPL, success comes to those who take control of the early game and just snowball. So as a result, you don't really see too many teams that are. It's like the ceiling. I think the floor for being a good 5v5 team fighting team is kind of low, because most teams just run it in as quick as possible, and then you fight with an item advantage. You take maybe slightly disadvantageous fights, but you just heave the weight of your wallet around and just throw your weight around like that. On the bot side, Xiaohu looks like he is suffering as Icon just keeps up the push, as Xiaohu is literally chunked out within an inch of his HP, forced to pop his ultimate, and Icon in response is only taken about 20% of his HP away. And now the Realm Warp will come in. There's no CC to deny him. And Xiaohu is just forced to let him escape just like that. And really, with not too many AP items, Icon is just chunking out Xiaohu. And this is going to be a constant problem for the remainder of the game, because who are you going to send to side lane against Icon? If you send too many people, they have decent Baron damage with the combined power of Ali, Tarzan, as well as Light in order to take Baron across the map. And you're definitely going to need 2 people, maybe even 3 in fact, to take him down. While Icon might not be the star player of their team, Icon is still a pro player in the LPL, and the mechanics are just what runs in the Chinese league. Now, stepping forward are the members of RNG, trying to get something back for themselves. As, I mean, really, the ground that they've lost at this point is hard to maintain, as Ming and Wei maybe stepping a little bit too far forward. Tarzan face checking with impunity, knowing that he has I1D and Light behind him, with Ale hovering towards the top side. And as much as they can, I like what LNG are doing here. They are defending the vision that they have placed down. They are not just letting RNG walk all over that vision. They are giving up waves. In the bot side, Xiaohu trying his best to push that wave into the tower, but now with Icon arriving, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be able to, as Ale now building towards his Thornmail is going to be quite a bit of a nuisance, because Tarzan is just going to go for crying as much as possible, try his best to kick him into the team, at which point all the damage on the side of RNG is going to be AD. So that's the reason that Ali is building so heavily towards AD without really, by the looks of it, caring too much about what Crying is building. Crying, though, to his benefit, is keeping up decently in terms of items. He's always going to be slightly behind in terms of his overall AP output, because Icon does have the benefit of being able to go work towards that death cap. But by the looks of it, Crying is either going to have to give up his stopwatch to eventually give up his Zhonya's into making a death cap, or he's just going to have to go forth without a death cap from this point on, at which point I don't really know if he can afford. I don't know if he can afford either, because if you don't have your stopwatch, if you don't have your hourglass, you're going to get kicked by Tarzan. There is no avoiding him. He finds a way. He slithers between the cracks, and there's just no denying him whatsoever. So at this point in time, things are looking exceptionally dire for RNG. Look at how LNG utterly control the map. It can be seen. It's reflected by the vision control. 30 seconds until the next dragon. RNG can't even step foot into their own jungle because they have no idea where Ale is. Icon in the bot side is just having a field day with Xiaohu, who can do nothing but pop his ultimate time after time. Icon has his ultimate available as well, but it looks like he doesn't even look to use it. Teleport is being used now, and Icon's just going to be able to slip out of this fight with a sliver of HP. The rest of LNG are rotating down, of course, as a result of the dragon being of utmost priority here. They don't need to accelerate the game any more than this. Is perfectly fine. 36 minutes into the game, 4 items across 5 items practically across the board. for the members of LNG and RNG in a desperate attempt to look and start Baron, to start Baron by the looks of it. And looks like Gala has been caught out of position here as in comes Tarzan. Nice essence shift right into him as Tarzan's Dragon's Rage kicks him off towards the side. Looks like Xiaohu is going to teleport into a deep mess as Tarzan and Ali are just zoning the rest of the team. Ali flashing forward, manages to get onto Gala, but the knockup is there from the 3-talent strike. In comes the Mega Inferno Bomb, but he does have the Maw of Malmortius, and the damage does come through. Guardian Angel has been propped as way now. Just stepping forward, good attempt here from LNG, seeing an opening, will manage to pick themselves up this very nice and juicy tier 2 tower so the waves can go even deeper now into the remainder of RNG's base. Satchel Charge going a little bit off to the side, could have popped that tower instead of going for Xiaohu, but I suppose he saw an opportunity to look for a kill, and as an exit objective, LNG will be sure to pick up that dragon as well, bringing them to soul point as well. So now here we are, 37 minutes into the game, double soul point for either team. The next 5 minutes is going to determine who eventually gets the Ocean Soul, and by my estimate it's gonna be LNG unless RNG pull off something miraculous here, and their attempt, their choice, their option, their decision is to go for the Baron. It's being chunked down so incredibly fast. Teleport is coming out from Ali as they realize, LNG realize this is it. They're coming from all sides. Iwandi at half HP. Baron gets smited. Xiaohu at half HP. Wei at half HP. Ming also quite low. As Ali's gonna get face checked right into Gala and crying. But he unfortunately doesn't do too much damage as Wei's Crusher Swipe does come out. He's tanking up the damage. Tries and going in. Gets a kicked off onto Wei. His Guardian Angel is proc. Does he have the safeguard available? Tries to get out of position. Unfortunately, was not able to. In comes the Scatter the Weeks. The 3v3 right now. Icon forced into his stopwatch. Light flashing forward with the Satchel Charge. Incinerates crying. But Gala is still alive. Gala is having a field day. Jumps forward. Manages to assassinate the Ziggs. And finally gets the last. Oh my god, Gala playing that with like an absolute dime, like a concert pianist, just darting in and out of the fights. And look how calm and collected he looks. Look at how peaceful, almost at ease he is. And RNG, when we thought there was no hope, their decision, their split decision to go for the Baron eventually provides them with, I mean, something. Ming and Gala still alive with Baron buff, denied off of the map, but still the noose is still not loosened around their necks. Let's look at that huge Mega Inferno hitting out onto 4. I'm not sure who Ali stunned out here. Ali going for Ming. Fantastic. Wait, he go for Ming? Wait. No, he went here. Yeah, okay. Ali went for Gala. Fantastic clicking and great decision making. And looks like Gala's gonna pick himself another tower. And Tarzan just jumping in, trying. He actually uses his flash because he didn't expect his Dragon's Rage to incinerate Wei the way it did. And even trying to sidestep away from the damage, but unfortunately the Scatter the Weak was available. Light flashing in. Look at the damage from that Satchel Charge. And Gala with 25% HP just jumps forward with his Maw of Malmortius, incinerates, one shots, pops Light, and then Icon follows very swiftly after. Fortunately for Gala, Ming was in position to just protect his AD carry with that big shield. And now 40 minutes into the game, one of the longer games in an LPL series for sure. RNG grasp on to what seems like a sliver of hope, a thread that is suspending them over the abyss of elimination as LNG just looking to tip them over bit by bit. 2 minutes and 45 seconds until the key point of the fight, in which case, after which, okay, it's not entirely key because everyone's got healing cut. Look at the damage coming out from Gala with that one arcane, I need to call it Bio Arcane Barrage, with one, what's it called again? Barrage. Light Barrage? Whatever it's called. Whatever. Anyways, RNG now stepping forward with the Baron buff renewed. Tarzan has managed to hit a Sonic Wave onto his team, but the rest of his onto Gala, but the rest of his team has backed off, which means if he goes in, it would have been for nothing. And the discipline, the power, the potential, the ability to stay calm in these extreme moments of stress is what separates a pro player from a regular norms player. And RNG brute forcing their way through 2 towers. LNG giving ground. 1 minute and 50 seconds until the dragon fight. RNG now able to plant down some vision of their own, able to defend the vision that they've planted as well, as Iwandi stepping up nearly fearlessly. Does have the sweeper available, and as quirky as this sounds, there is a control ward in the bot side. Xiaohu now trying to rejoin the rest of his team. RNG are trying to leverage this Baron buff as much as possible to pick up themselves as much as possible. Gala really only needs to be careful of one person, and that is Tarzan, from getting right onto him. Wei is pushed into his team, but the special charge gives him a boost out of the fight. Xiaohu is pushing in through the mid lane as another True Shot barrage comes through, wiping through a bit of LNG, but it looks like RNG will now eventually have to back away as Baron buff does fall. Now they're stuck in their same predicament as there's a bit of tempo in advantage of LNG, who will be able to get out onto the map first. They'll need to sweep out all this vision. Although the flanks are really not that great, and the only person who can flank them is Xiaohu, who's really used that teleport, as Gala teleports right back into the mid lane, trying his best to keep the pressure up onto LNG to ensure that they can't sweep out their vision for free. Gala now stepping into the fog of war, which leads Tarzan to not be able to turn a bit too far to the left. Tarzan jumping forward, spots out on a control ward. Icon is off towards the top side, does have his TP available. Now, I like what LNG are doing here, trying their best to split up the members of RNG, trying to force them into other pressure positions. As RNG, 30 seconds to go. Icon can do some severe damage with that 30 seconds. In fact, teleport is available from Light and Ale. We might just see a base race we might even see a base race coming out here as Ale pops his teleport down towards the bot side, trying to push the wave out as much as possible. By the looks of it, never mind. Looks like he's just looking for a flank opportunity. I'm not sure if the members of RNG caught that. In fact, he's managed to sneak his way down past a ton of vision, going for an extremely wide flank as the teleport is coming in from Icon. It looks like LNG see the opportunity to try and get this fight going, as Ale now finds himself sitting in the bush, pops the Dominus. Gala has no idea. He has absolutely no idea as he steps forward into the bush. In comes the Dominus, but very quick reaction coming out from Gala, managing to get himself into a much more advantageous position. Ale is taking so incredibly low, but still not popped down. I1D jumps forward. Stopwatch popped in the way. Wei is so incredibly low. Tarzan steps forward, trying to assassinate somebody, but Xiaohu is in the front lines, unable to continue any further. Crying, taken so incredibly low as 5 members of LNG still stand. Gala stepping forward, being the carry that his team needs him to be, going after Ale. But managing to chase the rest of LNG away as the Mystic Shots do so much damage. They don't have a jungler available. Tarzan is still there. Oh, does not manage to get the Sonic Wave off. And now RNG looking in a great position. But I guess that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that in 6 minutes, we have the Elder Drake available. Meanwhile, I'm not quite sure what I1D and Tarzan are doing, finding themselves in that kind of position. Maybe they're looking for something. Maybe they're looking for an opportunity to get an opening out onto Gala. But Gala's reactions are just too quick. Did you see how fast he reacted? As Gala now needs to be careful. Tarzan is in the area. I1D is in the area as well, but Gala has a ton of sustain with the Ocean Soul as well as his Bloodthirst. He's just standing his ground. Mega Inferno Bomb goes wide, and Ming is just enough for the two of them to not be able to do anything because of the stuns, the passive. Cry just getting incinerated, but the Scattered Weed comes in. Wei needs to jump in to try and save his jungler, his mid lane as much as possible. The pillar is enough to get Crying stuck. He's stuck. He's so incredibly stuck. And Ming trying his best to save his mid laner. In comes Ale, waiting for an opportunity. Crying is going to be incinerated by him, but a Scattered Weed comes in. Ming, Ale finally taking out the mid laner of RNG. I cannot believe what is going on here. And LNG with priority, with the sustain that they have from the red buffs. Looks like they are not going to make an attempt onto Baron, and I cannot believe what is unfolding before my very eyes, ladies and gentlemen. It looks to me that this game could go either way at this point, as RNG just looked doomed, but finding a fight out of nowhere. Finding just will and power and the willingness to fight from nowhere, as LNG now starting up the Baron. RNG are not in position at all to attempt this, and it looks like it's going to go heavily in favor. All we need is one misstep from either the team, a key character. It needs to be Crying or Gala. It needs to be Crying or Gala. It needs to be caught. And Gala looks like he's out of position. He could be stunned up here as the pillar knocks him into Ale with the oh no! Catastrophe unfolds. Xiaohu teleports into 5 people. Ming is there, but the rest of the team isn't. Crying is back in base. Wei and Ming can do little, but watch on as Xiaohu falls after. Wait, how he survived for so long is a real question. But this is catastrophic. RNG, how are you going to hold this? You're going to need a Herculean effort coming in from Crying and the remaining members in order to save them. But look at I1D stepping forward so aggressively. Tarzan jumping in onto Wei, diving next to Tarz. They see an opening. They see the light. They see the end of the game. Ming being jumped onto by Ale, but the damage is not there. But the bouncing grenades doing so much damage. And look at the damage coming in from Light onto the structures. Crying knocked out by the kick. And right now, LNG, eyes on the prize, focus on the jugular. The rest of RNG are but obstacles that have been overcome. And LNG celebrate themselves. Celebrate just moving on from this hectic game, which took a while to get going. But when it got going, it most certainly got going really fast. And LNG looking calm and collected. RNG, there's I'm not sure what it is, but there's gonna be some things to work out here, fam, because the draft's not looking too tight, playing together not so well, I would say. I think by far and beyond, Ming is playing out of his mind. I think Xiaohu did pretty decently, but I can't fault Gala too because there's just too much onto him at this point. Because there's just too much. Everything is on his shoulders. Him and crying was just crying played pretty well for the most part. But you know what? We gotta give credit where credit is due. We gotta give credit where credit is due. LNG playing together phenomenally, using that Rise ultimate to an exceptional degree. Icon, I gave him, I didn't give him credit all series long. I said he was definitely the weak link in LNG, but in this game 5, he stepped up for his team to an exceptional extent. I still think he is, relatively speaking, the weaker link onto LNG. But if he's the weak link on LNG, I must say, ladies and gentlemen, the future is looking mighty bright for this team going into what I hope to be Worlds. I really want to see LNG in Worlds. I want to see RNG in Worlds, but I really want to see LNG in Worlds. And right now, not gonna lie, LNG look like they are in a very comfortable position. If they keep this up, they might not come in as second seed, they might not come in as first seed, but that's very, very possible they'll be able to skip play-ins entirely as the third seed. And right now, the only team that's matching them in terms of the momentum that they are generating has to be Road Warriors at this point. Not that I've seen any of the Road Warriors games, but this is some exciting prospects to go through. A lot of things to cast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for maybe I'll cast a Road Warriors game to see like how well they do. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya!